You pick up your phone, scroll past a friend's new apartment or a rival's big announcement, and something inside you shifts. The room feels a little grayer than it did 90 seconds ago. Nothing actually happened to you. No disaster arrived, and no one insulted you, yet the ache in your chest is unmistakable. Most of us brush this off as a character flaw. We tell ourselves we're being weak or petty, but the thing you feel in that moment is real, measurable pain. Your nervous system is treating another person's good news like a direct injury to your own body. To understand why your brain reacts this way, we have to look at the exact machinery firing inside your skull. In 2009, a team of researchers placed volunteers inside a brain scanner and had them read about a peer who had everything they secretly wanted: a better job, a sharper talent, an easier life. When envy rose in those volunteers, one specific region lit up brightest: the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This diagram maps out that region. It shows that watching someone else succeed activates the exact biological hardware that fires when you touch a hot stove or get physically hurt. To your nervous system, a peer surpassing you is a literal wound. Then the researchers ran the second half of the experiment. They had those same volunteers read that the envied person had suffered a major failure, a setback, a fall. The brain responded with a spark of pleasure. The ventral striatum, the reward center that answers to food and money, lit up. And the data revealed a disturbing link. The stronger the physical pain of envy in the first half, the stronger the pleasure at their downfall in the second. This data reveals these two circuits are locked together. The deeper the ache when others rise, the sharper the pleasure when they fall. By living in a state of constant comparison, you are effectively training your brain to crave the misfortune of everyone around you. Why would evolution build a machine that punishes us for other people's success? To answer that, look at the world your brain was designed for. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger called this instinct social comparison theory. He realized that in a small prehistoric band of a few dozen humans, calculating where you stood among your peers was a strict requirement for staying alive. Resources were scarce. Where you ranked in that tiny group decided whether you ate first or last, whether you were protected from predators, or whether you were abandoned entirely. A hunter who ignored his slipping status got left behind. Measuring yourself against the nearest human is a reflex as automatic and involuntary as flinching. For 100,000 years, that agonizing sting of comparison kept our ancestors vigilant and alive in a harsh environment. But your ancestors only compared themselves to the 20 or 30 people they actually lived with. Today, we take that identical survival reflex and point it at a planet of millions. Your brain cannot tell the difference. When you open a feed, you see thousands of strangers broadcasting the single best moment of their month, posed and filtered. Your nervous system processes every single one of those highlight reels as a direct, local rival who is currently beating you for resources. The common advice for dealing with this is to look downward. Find someone struggling more than you, measure yourself against their failures, and let the relief wash over you. That strategy requires a steady supply of other people's misery to make you feel okay about your own life. It fires up that exact same reward circuitry we saw in the scanner, renting your self-respect to strangers and training you to hope they stay down. Upward or downward, you are playing a rigged game against a global delivery system engineered to keep you feeling like you are always losing. 2,000 years before the first brain scanner, the ancient Stoics diagnosed this exact trap. Men like Seneca and Epictetus understood the invisible wound of envy perfectly. Epictetus located the precise mechanism causing the pain. He observed that our misery comes from investing our peace in things we cannot command. A rival's success, their luck, the crowd's applause, none of these belong in the category of things you can control. People often confuse Stoicism with suppressing your feelings, bottling up the sting and pretending it never happened. That is a cheap imitation that rots you from the inside. A strong mind knows the biological spark of envy is real and unavoidable. The true Stoic feels that spark land in the pain center, names it honestly, and then makes a conscious choice to deny it fuel. You do not pretend the reflex is gone. You simply refuse to feed it. The rival feels nothing. the suffering happens entirely inside your own mind, which means the power to starve the reflex rests entirely in your own hands. You cannot delete a reflex carved into the oldest parts of your brain. Instead, you have to give it a new target. Turn the ruler inward. Stop aiming it at millions of strangers and measure yourself against one single person, the man you were yesterday. Did you train when you said you would? Were you a little more patient or honest today than yesterday morning? That is a scoreboard no algorithm can inflate, and no stranger's highlight reel can tear down. You control the inputs, and the winning compounds daily. Train this for a few weeks, and the feed loses its teeth. The math still tries to start, but you learn to let it pass through you. Another person's success stops triggering your pain center and simply becomes neutral information, just weather happening to someone else. You are the one who chooses which direction to look. So ask yourself, whose life are you actually going to live today? Yours or the running total of everyone else's?